Hello everybody and welcome to Selman's Sunday Music, and in our first episode we're going to be talking about the upcoming Guns N' Roses tour, the Rolling Stones' first gig in Cuba, and Brian Johnson's role in AC/DC, and that's all coming up right now. Okay, well, hello everybody. My name is Elliot Selman, and this is a brand new podcast called Selman's Sunday Music. So every Sunday we're going to be covering new music news, and I'll also be having some guests on over the coming weeks as well. So I'm really looking forward to starting this. I've never really done podcasting before, so hopefully it'll go well. Hopefully you guys will enjoy it. So let's start with our first segment, which is some music news. So I'm recording this on the 26th of March 2016, and funnily enough, tomorrow it's going to be Easter Sunday, so for all you guys out there, happy Easter. Now, getting back to music news, of course, yesterday, which was the 25th of March, Guns N' Roses announced through social media that they were going to be doing a tour in the summer called the Patience Tour. And the cities that were announced for the tour are Atlanta, Boston, Chicago, Cincinnati, Dallas, Detroit, Houston, Kansas City, Nashville, New Orleans, New York, Orlando, Philadelphia, Phoenix, Pittsburgh, San Diego, San Francisco, Seattle, St. Louis, Toronto, and Washington, D.C. So, I'm pretty excited that they've announced these shows. I really like the fact that they're announcing all the shows in batches. They at first they announced the Coachella shows, and then they announced the two shows in Los Angeles. I apologise for my complete fuck up. I of course meant to say Las Vegas. Now let's continue. Then they announced the two Mexico City shows, and now they've announced the tour. They didn't really seem to have an option to announce the tour, because when Axl was spotted by a fan in Atlanta, he kind of spilled the beans to that fan that there was going to be a tour, so they didn't really seem to be an option. So they probably threw the trailer together that they ended up releasing after Axl had spilled the beans. But I'm really excited, and when Axl was spotted by this fan, the fan took a picture. I'm sure most of you guys have seen the picture of Axl that was taken a few days ago. He looks really well, he certainly looks better than he did back when Guns N' Roses was touring at the end of 2014, which was the last time they toured. So I think he looks really great, and I'm looking forward to seeing the first shows coming up on April 8th. I'm really looking forward to seeing that and seeing how Axl, Slash and Duff coexist on stage together for the first time in more than 20 years. So it's definitely something to look forward to. Okay, so now we're going to get on to our last little bit of music news, which I mentioned in the intro. And we'll talk about that just before we get into our main subject. So, another thing that happened yesterday as well was the Rolling Stones played their first gig in Cuba. Now, I think I can imagine for the Rolling Stones that it was really exciting to play Cuba for the first time. I know that any time I play a gig or a venue for the first time, I always get really excited. It's a new crowd, new people, and a new venue itself. And I can imagine that excitement transitions as well for even for a band like the Rolling Stones, especially when they're going to a new country. They're going to a new country. There's going to be a new fan base there that's probably been there for a long time, but it's going to be the first time that a lot of these fans are going to get to see the Stones. And from the pictures that I saw online, the fans seem to really enjoy it. And I think a lot of the reason why the fans seemed to enjoy it so much was because the band looked like they were really enjoying it. And I think a big part of a gig is if the band are enjoying it, and you can see that the band has a lot of energy, especially a band like the Stones with Mick Jagger as their frontman. When you've got such a charismatic band on stage, even at their age, that excitement really transitions to the fans. So it was really cool to see that the Rolling Stones played Cuba for the first time. Okay, so when we come back from this short break, we're going to be heading into our main subject, which is talking about all the news that's been surrounding AC/DC recently. So that will be coming up when we come back, so I'll see you in a minute. As you can tell, I don't have any AC/DC in my iTunes. Shame on me. Anyway, back to the show. Okay guys, welcome back to Selman's Sunday Music, and now we're going to be going into our main subject, which is AC/DC. Now, for you guys that haven't heard, recently Brian Johnson of AC/DC, who's now been a member for 36 years, replacing Bon Scott after his death, suffered some hearing loss, not non-music related. It was actually whilst he was racing cars, which I know is a passion of his, and he was advised by doctors to stop touring. Now, AC/DC, I believe, are in the middle of a tour, and from what we've heard, Brian Johnson went to the band and said that he was advised not to tour, but apparently he didn't. And again, this is all what we've heard. This is all speculation, but apparently Brian Johnson did not say he wanted to leave the band. He just said he was advised not to tour. Well, subsequently, AC/DC put a statement out on their website, which unfortunately I don't have in front of me. But it did mention in the statement that AC/DC do have 10 dates left in their current tour, and they are looking... Oh great, somebody's screaming outside. I'll just ignore it. Anyway, I don't even know if you can hear it, but I just thought I would... Bastards. Anyway, but it did say on AC/DC's website that they would be continuing the last 10 dates of their shows, and they're in the process of rescheduling the last 10 dates, and that they are looking for a guest vocalist. Now, when that word came up, when I was reading it, I was very, very intrigued, to say the least. Now, I woke up, I forget which day it was, sometime during this week, and I see that Axl Rose, and I think at that time it only sprouted from maybe 2 or 3 sources that Axl Rose may be stepping in for the last 10 dates of the tour. And then I started seeing it everywhere, and I was really shocked, and I was starting to become really, really, like, not nervous, but I was kind of like, shit, I didn't really believe this at first, but now it's coming from so many places. It's like, holy shit, what if this is actually real? And with more and more sources have started to come out saying that he may have some involvement, and then a representative of the band said that there was nothing official, and that we'll be told when there is some official news. So it's still kind of uncertain from what I've heard, but I don't really know what to think about it. I think I've always thought that even in his current form, when Axl gets up into those higher registers, and I may be a little biased because I'm a huge Guns N' Roses fan, so take that into consideration, but even in the more recent clips that I've seen of Axl, you can kind of tell, if you really inspect them, you can kind of tell that when Axl gets up into those higher registers, of his voice, he can still pull that off pretty well. You know, when he tries to sing at sort of an average singing voice, it's kind of a little, you know, it's not a little, it's pretty shit, to be fair. But when he gets up into those higher registers, he sounds very reminiscent of that old Axl Rose, that, you know, that gnarly sort of open sound of his voice. And that is a sound that I believe he shares with Brian Johnson in a lot of ways. So if it is true that Axl's going to come in and do the last 10 dates of the AC/DC tour, I don't see what all the complaints are about. You know, I don't think he would be a good permanent fit, personally. I think a kid like that would really take it out of him, especially if he was juggling it with Guns N' Roses. I think it would really, really take it out of him. So I don't think he would be a great permanent fit, but I think temporarily I don't see a problem with it. I think it would be a very exciting thing to see, and it would be interesting. You know, it's something that, how likely is it that, you know, you're ever going to see, whoever thought, you know, the reaction I saw all over the internet when this was coming up was, you know, this can't be true, and people were thinking of it as a joke. And then when there's more and more coming out, giving us the impression that it's actually true, you kind of think to yourself, well, shit, if this did actually happen, it would actually be really cool. You know, it would be different. It would be interesting, and I think it would be a great show for those last 10 dates. And then I think then they would get a more permanent replacement in, because it's very obvious to me that Angus Young really, really wants to continue this, you know. And another thing about continuing on, you know, a lot of AC/DC fans have been really quick to replace Brian Johnson. Like, really quick. And it's kind of sad. You know, it's sad to think that somebody who's given 36 years of his career to this band, you know, that he had a huge job of filling the shoes of Bon Scott, you know. And the fact that he's come in and he's served 36 years in this band, and to be so quickly just excluded from the band by the fans, it's a really weird thing. It's been a really weird thing to watch. You know, a lot of people have been really, really quick to... And there has even been a lot of other vocalists that have said that they would take the job if they were offered it. And it's like, what the fuck is your problem? You know, you shouldn't be like, oh, you know, I would take the job if I was given it. You should be like, well, shit, this guy's given 36 years of his career to this band. You know, it really, really sucks. So I think it really is a shame that a lot of people have brushed over Brian Johnson so quickly. But it's really unfortunate what's happened to Johnson. But it'll be interesting to see who they get in as a permanent replacement after their current tour. And again, it'll be interesting to see what Axl has to bring to the table, if anything, if this rumour is true, of course. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. You know, my opinion is I think Axl temporarily would be a good fit, but I think it would be really difficult for him to handle the gig permanently. I don't think there's any way at all that Axl would be the permanent lead singer of AC/DC. But it'd be interesting to see how he would fit temporarily. Okay, guys, well, that's it for our first episode. I want to thank you guys for listening. Make sure to check out my Twitter account, which is in the thumbnail of my video, and also subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you guys next week. See you later.